Sports betting is sold like it's a fast track to riches, but that's like thinking you'll get rich day trading penny stocks off Reddit. Spoiler, you won't. I fell for that scam once, and all it did was turn me into free entertainment for the sports books. And trust me, they loved every second. But when I stopped chasing miracles and started betting like Wall Street, suddenly the bookies didn't find me so funny. Now they'd rather change the channel because I'm no longer their favorite show. So, if you don't want to be the syndicate's punchline, keep watching. Because today, I'm breaking down why 97% of bettors stay broke, and the brutal truth about how the other 3% actually profit. But hold on a sec, I noticed that a lot of you watching haven't subscribed to the channel yet. So if you want to stop donating to the bookies' vacation home, subscribe to this channel instead. But to really show you how the pros think, let me tell you a story about a guy who's not just placing bets. He's actually competing against billionaire-backed teams using the same model he uses to crush sportsbooks. Sounds pretty insane, right? Well, that's because data beats money every time. So in the early 2000s, Brighton were a nobody club. They were barely surviving in England's third tier, playing in a rented stadium with barely any fans. But fast forward to now, they're in the Premier League, out-competing global giants like Chelsea and Manchester United. So how is that possible? The big clubs have billion-dollar budgets and global fan bases. Basically, an unfair advantage right out of the gate. But Brighton's owner, Tony Bloom, found a way to level the playing field. Because he isn't a typical football owner. Bloom is a professional sports bettor who's built one of the most advanced analytics operations in the game. In fact, his company, StarLizard, runs predictive models on football, the same way hedge funds model markets. And those predictive models, that's exactly where Brighton's edge comes from. Hey, use data to spot undervalued players, craft smarter lineups, and play a style that actually fits the numbers. But beyond the field, Tony Bloom uses those same models in his betting syndicate to crush the sports books. And if you think about it, he's not only running a football club, he's actually turned it into a machine that makes money for himself and his investors, all with the same principles. Because really, he's here for the long haul. And that's exactly the mindset you need to be a successful bettor. Problem is, most people struggle to stick to that. And that's where a private community comes in handy. I built a private group in OddsJam where we talk strategies and spot mismatched prices. So when you join, you'll see positive EV bets like this a lot. If you're interested, just click the link in the description below. Now you might be thinking, if Bloom can do this, why don't more bettors see the same kind of success? It's not because they're unlucky, it's because they never understood this one simple concept. Because have you ever been that guy? You know the one. Rent's due in 3 days. You're short $800, but don't worry, you've got a plan. You scroll Twitter, and boom, 6-leg heater, banger of the day. The Twitter tipster tells you that his cousin played high school ball with the third-string point guard, so it's basically insider info. You believe him? Slam in $50 on a classic 6-leg rent parlay with no questions asked. First leg hits, you fist pump. Second leg, close one, but the gambling gods are on your side. By the fifth leg, you're already texting your landlord. Check your Venmo. Now it's down to 1 leg. Your team's up 11 with just seconds left on the clock. And then with 0.7 seconds left, the ref blows the whistle out of nowhere. Foul. On a guy who tripped over his own shoelace. And 2 free throws later, the spread drops to 9. Congrats. You just donated to the bookies. Again. So bottom line is, never chase shortcuts in sports betting. Instead, wait until the math's on your side before you make your move. But how would you know if it's on your side? Let me give you an example. Let's say there's a soccer game between Newcastle and Manchester United. Most people would think, easy money, Newcastle will definitely win. Man United is crap. And yeah, you're not wrong. Manchester United are terrible. But the part most sports bettors miss is that everyone else is thinking the same thing. And so the price is already adjusted for that. Let me break it down for you. Say Newcastle is priced at minus 200, which means you have to risk $200 to win $100. So that gives you a win rate of about 66.7%. Now let's say the true fair odds should have been minus 150. That would mean a 60% win rate. If you're betting them at minus 200, you're overpaying, so you can be right and still lose money over time. Because imagine placing 10 $200 bets at minus 200 odds. You win 6, which is a $600 profit. But the 4 losses cost you $800, so overall you're down $200. That's why betting on who you think will win will lose you money. Instead, let the math guide your every move. But I'm not a math wizard, so I decided to use OddsJam to direct my bets, and I tracked everything for a whole week. And let's just say the results speak for themselves. But you might be thinking that this system feels like a lot of work, and it'll probably take years to make an actual profit. And yeah, you're right. Sports betting is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You don't just place a bet and instantly cash out. It's more like a snowball. It starts small, but as it rolls down the hill, it picks up more snow. By the time it reaches the bottom, it's an avalanche. You're stacking 3 to 5% edges, bet after bet, month after month. It doesn't feel exciting in the short term, but the results are ridiculous over time. Let's say you start with a $5,000 bankroll. You stick to 1% bet size, take 5 bets per day, and only take bets with at least 3% edge. Here's how the math plays out year by year. After a year, you've made $3,000, which doesn't seem like much, but if you could get a 60% ROI on an investment, you'd be hyped, right? And just like with investing, things start to compound. After 6 years, you're finally able to hit the $10,000 per month mark. And after 10 years, you're sitting at over $1 million. And if you want to see exactly how I started out, I put together a step-by-step blueprint showing how I made my first $1,000. It's a system you can copy to find sharp bets on your own without relying on luck. So, if you're tired of losing money every week, hit the link in the description and grab it. It's free. But since we're talking about investing here, let's go back to the Wall Street traders. Because there's one crucial mistake you need to be aware of. Get this wrong, and it doesn't matter how sharp your picks are. You can lose everything. And here's what I mean. So back in 1995, a trader named Nick Leeson was working at Barings Bank, one of the oldest banks in England. He started making risky bets in the derivatives market, and when they didn't go his way, he didn't cut losses. Instead, he doubled down, then doubled again. Sounds familiar, right? This is the degen martingale strategy that LockDaddy69 preaches about on his Twitter. But Nick Leeson was hiding the losses in a secret account, thinking one big win would fix everything. Well, it didn't. The trades spiraled out of control, and by the time anyone noticed, he'd racked up £1.3 billion in losses, enough to bankrupt the entire bank. All because he thought confidence could beat risk. And this false confidence is exactly why most sports bettors go broke. Real traders don't go all in on a hunch. They risk 1 to 2% per trade. And the same goes for sharp bettors. They don't double down or chase after losses because that's emotion, not strategy. Instead, they manage their bankroll, stick to the plan, and let the edge do the work. Take this bet, for example. I had a $10,000 bankroll. I put $100 on Brest versus Toulouse at 1.90 odds. It hit, turning my $100 into $191. Not a huge payday, but those small wins add up over time and compound into serious profits. But even if you do everything right and let the math do its thing, you're still bound to hit a losing streak. It might only happen once every few years, but when it does, it hits hard. It happened to me once. My bankroll was up, confidence high. Then boom, 12 losses in a row. That's usually when most people spiral, they start second-guessing themselves and breaking rules. But I had a simple protocol. Normally, you reset your unit size once per week. But in the rare case that your bankroll drops 20% midweek, say from $10,000 to $8,000, it's too risky to stick to the same unit size at 1%. So pause, recalibrate, and reset your unit size to 1% of the new bankroll. So now you're betting $80, not $100. It seems small, but it's huge psychologically. It creates breathing room, stops the panic, and keeps you in the game. And this one rule makes sure one bad month doesn't wipe out half of your bankroll. But what if you could take it a step further and actually make money while you sleep? I've got a full guide showing exactly how to do that with sports betting. Click the link on the screen to watch it. You won't want to miss this.